back to Crypto Moonshots. So let's jump straight in. Today we're talking about ECOMI. They're partnered with veve, which is an app for NFTs. I'll talk about that later if you guys want me to, but today we're just going to get into the technical analysis of things, because I don't see a lot of people talking about the technical analysis. Yes, there's a lot of hype around it, but there's still science behind all of it, right? So we're going to be talking about that. And as you guys know, man, this this price has been going insane, absolute insanity. Look at that, 41,000% in the past year. 41,000%. That's 41 times your money, right? That's I just noticed that. That's freaking crazy, right? And green across the board, right? And there's just so much hype around it. Everyone's talking about it. So, yeah, we're gonna talk about some technical analysis here. So let's just jump right in. Um, so if you're new here, please feel free to subscribe and like this video. And if you're already a subscriber, welcome back. So happy to have you here. So let's look at this. So first, we're going to start with the daily chart, right? If we start with the daily chart, right? And I know a lot of people are commenting that they're beginners, so I'm going to try my best to explain it, right? So if we look at the swing lows, right, they touched this level of 0.008, right? 8/10 of a cent. One time, right? How many times? How many times is that? Oh wow, that is okay. I'm gonna not use that. Hold up. So yeah, we're not gonna use that. But it touched it one time, two time, and almost three times, right? So we can kind of use that as a daily level, right? And then if you look here on March 19th, I mean, wow, look at that candle, right? It went all the way up to 1.3536 cents, right? So yeah, so that's the daily, right? Again, daily resistance and support levels are really strong, right? The more you zoom out, the stronger these levels are, right? So let's also look at the 4-hour, right? And then I also drew these red lines right here, right? That's a level of resistance right now, which we're kind of breaking through, right? And then again, if we look at the daily, look at that, like magic, right? The 4-hour touched it once, touched it twice, three times, right? So it used that as support, right? So I think the chances of going below 0.008 cents at this time around, I think, near impossible with the amount of hype going through it. So basically, I want to kind of discuss what we think will happen with the price from a technical analysis standpoint, right? So as we can see, this is one level, right? This 4-hour level of support and resistance. This is one level, right? So we can kind of count this as another level, right? The support or resistance of the 4-hour and the resistance of the daily, right? So if we look at it, it touched that, right, and then came back down, right, and then came all the way to the daily, right? So it went from the top of the daily to the bottom of the daily, and then it was between these two levels, right? And then once it formed some candles, so let me kind of zoom in so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. So once it, so it came down to these two levels, right? And then it touched this level, kind of did a little fake out, came back down, it was stuck between these two levels, then formed some candles above it, right? And then it was in between these two levels, right? And just like clockwork, hit the top of the resistance, came back down, touched the bottom, right? Again, stuck between these two levels, and it's been going crazy, right? And what ended up happening was that a little bit of the candle was formed above this line of resistance, right? This was resistance before because we touched it, didn't go through, came back down, touched a level of support, and then went back up, and it's been kind of wicking down, right? This 4-hour candle kind of been wicking down. So let me tell you guys what I think is going to happen based on technical analysis, right? So a few things to consider, right? A few things to consider. First, what can happen, right? What can happen? Again, we'll kind of incorporate the news later, but let's just talk from a TA standpoint right now. So what can happen, right, is a real possibility, right? A real possibility is that we can, touch this line of, break above this, right, and do a little fake out, and comes straight back down. Comes straight back down, right? And we have this level of support, right? We have this little level of support, which is at what, 0.009 cents, right? 9/10 of a cent, right? So that's a real possibility, right? So let's not count that out yet, right? If one or two candles form above this line, right? Again, a wick through, the candle's still above it, right? But it's negative right now, right? It's negative right now. And I don't really like to look at the 2 hour, but I guess we could just for reference right now. Again, it's not as accurate, but yeah, as you can see, it's kind of, the bulls and bears are kind of fighting. Um, it might break through this and it might not, right? So the only way we know that it broke through this line is if there were, one or two or three candles that form above this line of resistance at, what is that, 0.012, right? 1.2 cents, right? So if it forms above it, we have another level of strong resistance, right? Strong resistance at 1.36 cents, right? That's a strong level of resistance because it's daily, right? So yeah, so two things can happen, right? Two things can happen. Either we do a little fake out like what's happening right now, right? As we speak, what's happening right now is it's coming back down, and as soon as it comes back down, keep that in mind in technical analysis. As soon as it comes back down, this acts as a level of resistance, right? So when you break through a level of resistance, you need a lot of bulls, right? So it's not just like it could just stay between that. That's why this line is there, right? Because it was a previous level of um, resistance, right? It was a previous level of resistance. So yeah, man. So that's one possibility, right? Comes back down. Um, it could test this line. It could test this line. Do I think it's going to go through 0.009? Let's see. Let's look at the history. So it tested it once, right? It tested it once. So there is a possibility, but incorporating the news a little bit with all the hype around it, and again, if you stick to the end of the video, I'll talk about the major news that's coming up. With all the hype around it, I really doubt that it's going to go below 0.009, right? 0.9 cents, right? I really, really doubt it, right? But like I said, as we look at the candles right now, see, like it doesn't know what to do. It's kind of stuck on this line, right? And that's why technical analysis works, right? Let's look at the 30-minute. Again, I don't really use these, but just for reference, if we look at it, I just want to prove to you guys that these lines do work, right? And you see it's kind of stuck there, right? It doesn't know what it wants to do. So another possibility, right, is that if it forms candles above this, it's going to come back up to 1.36 cents. But then what I think will happen is it's going to touch here, right, this 1.36 cents, and then it's going to come back down, right? And then it's going to come back down to, what is that? This becomes support, right? So 1.25 cents, right? And then it might bounce a little here and then shoot back up, right? And then shoot back up. So those are the two possibilities. Those are the things to keep an eye on if you kind of want to see where the price is going realistically. I know a lot of YouTube videos say 100x, 2000x, whatever. But this is a real price prediction based on the science of trading, right? The science of trading, which is technical analysis. So, yeah. So basically, those are the two possibilities that's going to happen in the short term. If we incorporate the news, what I think is going to happen, right, based on the news, again, this is kind of incorporating TA as well. I think honestly it's going to start using this line as support, this 1.2 cent level. I think it's going to use it as support in the short to midterm, right? Because again, of the major news they're coming out with later today, and then it's going to bounce between these two levels. So don't buy up here, right? Wait for it to come back down, right? Just to play it safe. Again, it's a gamble. If you were to buy up here, it's a gamble. Most likely, what's going to happen is it's going to come down, right? Based on science, it's going to come down. There's a good possibility if candles form above this line, then it's going to shoot up, right? So you have to see where you have to look at these lines and see where the candles are forming, right? If there's solid candles forming above it, then that's a good time to buy because you're at the bottom. if there's candles forming, below it and it's going back and forth and you don't know what's going to happen, the best thing to do is wait and see what's going to happen, right? You don't want to, it's really hard to buy the bottom exactly or the top exactly, right? You can, kind of be in the beginning of the trajectory. If you're in the beginning, so if you were like, if you're looking at the 4 hour and you're seeing like, and then you're right here, you're like, okay, it touched the bottom right here, right? It touched the bottom. Then if you buy here, right, you would have made around, what is that? Around a 30% gain, right? So you kind of want to look at the trajectory. You don't, it's hard to buy either at the bottom or top. So that's what I would do. But again, the major news that they're talking about today is that it is coming to Uniswap, right? Today, what time is it right now? I live in Pacific time, so around 7:30 Pacific time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. It's coming to Uniswap. That's big, big news, right? Because it's on BitMax right now. I don't know how many people use BitMax, but I personally don't. So I'm waiting to see what will happen. And if, based on my charting and technical analysis, again, if it forms below, I'm going to wait because I think it's going to come back down here. If it forms above, right, if candles form above it, then I already know it's going to come up to here. But at the same time, gas fees are expensive. So this really could be a long-term hold, right? Because this does have long-term potential as well. So yeah, it's just based off what you want to do. I hope you guys got some value out of this. If you did, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe. And that's it, man. Thank you guys so much.